Good morning. May I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think last class we have discussed this particular derivation, the steady state error when this delta PC is 0. Okay. And then we have derived that what is the steady state error. And then finally we have come to this particular point, delta F equal to this expression. Okay. Now, next task is we'll assume delta PDS equal to 0 and delta PCS, there is a step change in loop. Okay. So that is delta PCS equal to delta PC by S. Okay. So now what will be the transfer function in that case? Okay. So that means we'll refer to that particular block diagram. Here delta PCS equal to delta PC by S, and this is 0 because we are applying the superposition one input at a time. Okay. So that means this is 0 means this comparator has no value. Okay, this comparator has no value. So we can remove this comparator, and then these three blocks are in cascade, and with this there is a feedback path. So we'll go to we'll derive this expression. So let us say this is your delta PCS. This is your speed governor. This is KSG by 1 plus STSG. This is your KT turbine block. This is KT by 1 plus STT. And this comparator we have removed it. So now this particular block is KPS by 1 plus STPS. And then this is your frequency feedback, that is delta Fs. Now from here, we'll take the feedback. This is your 1 by R. And this is your positive input, and this is your negative input. So this is your block diagram. When the case is delta PDS, this is equal to 0, and delta PCS, this is equal to, there is a step change, delta PC by S. So in this case, you see, this is your GS. This is, they are in cascade. So they will be multiplied. G1, G2, G3. So these three will be multiplied. And this is your feedback, HS. HS equal to 1 by N. Now you have a positive input and negative feedback. So what will be your CS by RS? What will be your CS by RS? Anyone can tell? With positive input and negative feedback. What will be the CS by RS?
So positive.
Positive, but what will be the expression, transfer function? That is GS by 1 plus GSHS. Yes or no? GS by 1 plus GSHS? Yes or no? Are you familiar with this expression?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
sir.
So this will be delta FS by delta PCS equal to, these all are in, this is your GS. This is your basically GS. So this is KSG KT into KPS divided by 1 plus STSG into 1 plus STT into 1 plus STPS divided by 1 plus GSHS. So this will be KSG into KT into KPS divided by 1 plus STSG into 1 plus STT into 1 plus STPS into R. This whole expression is multiplied by 1 by R because this feedback is HS is 1 by R. So now we'll simplify. This will be your, see the numerator and denominator, this will cancel. But R will be there. R is extra. So R will be in the numerator. So R into KSG KT into KPS divided by, this will be 1 plus STSG into 1 plus STT into 1 plus STPS into R plus KSG KT KPS. This is clear, this derivation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So delta Fs we can write, this is equal to delta, will multiply here. So this will be delta PC by S. Okay. So the steady state error, delta F steady state, this is equal to limit S tends to 0, S into delta Fs. So we'll substitute now limit S tends to 0, S into your this term. So that means this term is R into this term, R into KSG KT KPS, R into KSG KT KPS into delta PC divided by 1 plus STSG into 1 plus STT into 1 plus STPS into R plus KSG KT into KPS into 1 by S. Yes. So this S and this S will cancel. This S and this S will cancel. Now we'll substitute the limit. So what will happen? This will be R into KSG KT KPS into delta PC divided by, this is 0, this is 0, and this is 0. So this is R plus KSG KT into KPS. Now we know that KSG into KT, this is approximately equal to 1. So this becomes R into KPS by R into KPS into delta PC divided by R plus KPS. So now we are dividing numerator and denominator by R into KPS. So this will be delta PC, this will be 1 by KPS, and this will be 1 by R. Now 1 by KPS we know this is equal to B. So this is B plus 1 by R. So delta F steady state finally is delta PC by B plus 1 by R. Is it clear, this derivation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we'll show you this thing. So this is delta F equal to delta PC divided by B plus 1 by R. So now we'll apply the superposition. So when we apply the superposition, what will happen? I will show you that thing. So this is the expression of delta F steady state. Okay. So first I will write delta PC is equal to 0, and we have calculated the delta F steady state. So delta F steady state in that case, it is minus delta PD by B plus 1 by R. This we have derived in the last class. And now we have derived delta PDS equal to 0. So delta F steady state equal to delta PC by B plus 1 by R. So applying both inputs. So when two inputs are input simultaneously, both inputs simultaneously. So in that case, delta F steady state will be this plus this. So what will happen? 1 by B plus 1 by R, it is taken common. So this is delta PC minus delta PD. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when this delta F steady state error will be equal to 0, so delta F SS, this is equal to 0 means your delta PC should be equal to delta PD, because steady state error means what? There is a error. So for example, if let us say this is the frequency curve, this is frequency with respect to time, and this is your standard frequency, that is 50 Hertz. Let us say that is the standard line. Now, if there is some error, so what will happen? The frequency will not reach to this value. It will be something here. It will be something here. So the error is something here, it is 49. So there is an error of 1 Hertz. So your frequency is not reaching to the steady state. So that means that is the error. This is your steady state error. Okay, 1 Hertz is your steady state error. So how we can reduce this error? If we make delta PC equal to delta PT. So you see, this is the case if the speed changer setting is changed by delta PC and while the load demand changes by delta PT, the steady state frequency is obtained by the superposition. So that's what we have done just now. And this delta F will be equal to 0 when the frequency change caused by the load demand can be compensated by the change in the speed changer. So see, I have told you in the beginning that if there is a change in load, so load is increased. So what has to be done? Load is increased means the generation is fixed. So what will happen? Let us understand that meaning. So if let us say, if your delta PD that is increased. Okay, so this is increased. Okay, but your generation is now fixed. So what will be the frequency? Frequency will fall or it will rise? Frequency will, F will fall or it will rise? Frequency will fall because your generation is fixed, load is more. Load is more means the frequency will fall. So if the frequency is falling, that means your omega speed is falling. The speed of the machine will fall because omega and F, it is related with 2 pi F. Omega equal to 2 pi F. So if F is falling, then omega is also falling. So what will happen? So we need to increase the frequency because frequency is falling. So ultimately we will need to increase the speed. So how we can increase the speed? By opening the steam valve. Opening the steam valve. So opening the steam valve means this delta PC has to be increased. If you increase this delta PC, automatically the cause is your delta PD. This is your cause. So finally you need to open this. So if you open this, how much you have to open? The change in load should be equal to your change in this delta PC. So if delta PC equal to delta PD, then your steady state error will be equal to 0. So this is the, see, we have derived mathematically, and the same thing, the statement already we know. So this is a proof actually. So if there is a change in the frequency, means change because of the change in load, Okay, we need to change the steam valve state setting. So if that change in steam valve setting it is compensated by the change in load, then the steady state error will be equal to 0. This point is clear? This point is clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we'll take some numerical problem. Okay. A 100 MVA synchronous generator operates on full load at a frequency of 50 Hz. The load is suddenly reduced to 50 megawatt. Due to time lag in governor system, the steam valve begins to close after 0.4 seconds. Determine the change in frequency that occurs in this time. H, that is the inertia constant, it is given 5 kilowatt second per kVA of generator capacity. So the rating of the generator it is given, it is 100 MVA. The frequency is 50 Hz. The load is reduced to 50 megawatt. So initially there was a load, but load is reduced now. So when the load is reduced, instantly you cannot close the steam valve because it will first sense that the load is reduced. That signal will be given to the speed changer. This speed changer will then it will close. So there is a time lag. There is a time lag of 0.4 seconds. Just a minute. I will clear this thing. Okay. So initially, let us say the load is reduced. Load is reduced to 50 megawatt. So when you are reducing this load, so what will happen? You need to control speed because load is reduced, otherwise speed will increase. So when you need to control the speed, you need to close, opening of steam valve. So what will happen, you see, when you are sensing that there is a change in load, okay, so there is a time difference between sensing of reduction in load and closing of steam valve. So what will happen? And this time lag, it is given 0.4 seconds. So what will happen during this 0.4 second, the steam will continuously enter into the system. This is in your turbine blade. And because of that, what will happen? There will be excess energy input. There will be excess energy input during this 0.4 seconds. So continuously the steam is injected in the turbine. So and because of that, there will be some excess input into the system. Okay. So now we'll see. I think someone's Vikas and Rahul. You have the you please mute your, because otherwise I think okay. Fine.
Yes, sir.
You just mute it. Some sounds it is coming at that time. Okay. So now you see the kinetic energy stored into the generator rotor. So what will be the kinetic energy? That is basically H into PR. That is your H into PR. Now what is H? H here it is given. H is 5 kilowatt second per kVA. PR is what? It is 100 MVA. So 100 MVA means you see it is 100 MVA. So we are converting it to kVA. So this is the kinetic energy stored in the machine. This point is clear. So
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So kinetic energy stored. So kinetic energy stored, this is equal to H into PR. The H is your inertia constant and PR is your rating. 100 MVA, but this is 5 kilowatt second per kVA. So we need to convert it into kVA. So multiplying by 1000. So this is the basically calculation. Now you see the excess power input to the generator before the steam valve begins to close. Because you see during that 0.4 second, the steam is continuously injected into the turbine blade. Okay, because there is a time lag between the sensing of the reduction in load and the action taken, that is the steam valve begins to close it. So this time lag is basically 0.4 seconds. So during this period, the power was 50 megawatt. So what will be the excess energy input? Because you are supposed to close the steam valve, and because of this, let us say governor action, the time there is a delay in governor action during this period, the excess steam is entered into the system. So that particular excess energy, what will be the excess energy during that particular period? So excess energy will be equal to power into time. So power is 50 megawatt. We are converting into kilowatt. That is 1000 into 0.4. So that is power into time basically. So this is 20,000 kilowatt. Now we know that the kinetic energy is proportional to the frequency, square of the frequency. That is the basically we know it. Okay, kinetic energy is proportional to the square of the frequency. So what will be the frequency at the end of the 0.4 second? So first, what we'll do? I will just show here. So let us say when your frequency is F1, your kinetic energy is W1. When let us say the frequency means there is a due to this excess energy input, that is W2, the frequency is F2. So we need to calculate this F2. We don't know what is this value. We don't know. But we know the formula, that is W is proportional to F square. So we can write W1 is proportional to F1 square and W2 is proportional to F2 square. So W2 by W1 equal to F2 square by F1 square. Now F2 square will be equal to F1 square into W2 by W1. Now what is W2? F1 square means, now let us say this F2 equal to, this will be square root of this, that means F1 square root of W2 by W1. Now you see this F1 is your 50 hertz. This is the initial value. And W2 is what? W2 is means your excess initial energy plus the excess energy input. So initial energy, you have, this is your initial energy. And what is the excess energy input? That is P into T, that is the 20,000 kilowatt second. Okay, so I will come to that particular calculation. So you see, this is your excess energy input. This is the initial energy plus the excess energy. Okay, divided by the initial and square root of that. So if you do this calculation, you will get 51 hertz. This problem is clear. Anywhere any doubt? Any doubt on any part?
No, sir.
Okay. Now next problem. Two generators rated 200 megawatt and 400 megawatt are operating in parallel. The droop characteristic of their governors are 4% and 5% respectively from no load to the full load. Assuming that generators are operating at 50 Hz at no load, how would a load of 600 megawatt be shared between them? What will be the system frequency at this load? Assume free governor operation. Repeat the problem if both governors have a droop of 4%. So two generators, their ratings are given 200 megawatt and 400 megawatt. They are operating basically in parallel. Now their droop characteristic, it is given 4% and 5%. So droop characteristic means we have seen that the slope of the, I think I should refer that curve so that you can understand what is droop characteristic. R, the value of R basically. This is your droop. This is your droop. Okay. These droop characteristics are given 4% and 5% respectively from no load to the full load. Let us say that all these two generators are operating at 50 Hz at no load. How would a load of 600 megawatt be shared between them? Means let us say the total load of the system is 600 megawatt. Now how this generator will share their load? And when they will share their load, what will be the system frequency at this particular load? So we need to calculate what should be the system frequency at this particular load. And then you have to repeat this problem by taking the droop characteristic 4% for both the generators. So this is the problem statement. So now what we'll do? Now let us say we are assuming let the load of the generator be for 200 megawatt generator, it is sharing X megawatt, for example. And load on generator 2, this is the remaining part it will share. So total load is 600. So 600 minus X. Now let us say there is a reduction in frequencies delta F. So we are assuming that is the reduction in frequency. Due to this operation, there is a change in the frequency. That change is delta F. So what will happen? You see, delta F by X. Delta F is how? How we are calculating? R into F. R is the your droop characteristic, 4%. That is 0.04 into your rated frequency. That is your delta F. And X is your sharing of the generator. Which generator? It is with respect to that 200 megawatt. So that means 0.04 into 50 by 200. Similarly, for the second generator, this will be delta F by 600 minus X. This is 0.05 into 50. 0.05 is your, this is droop. This is the droop it is given, 5%. So 0.05 into 50 by 400. Okay. So now if you equate these two, then you will get the value of X. So please do this calculation. You please do this calculation whether you are getting these values or not. The sharing of these two generators. Have you understood this thing? Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please do this calculation. Are you getting this value? value of X and this sharing of these two generator. Are you getting this value?
Yes, sir. Nearby.
Okay. I think 230 point something. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the system frequency becomes, this is the, you know, the value of X. Okay. So that means this X is known. So delta you can calculate because X you have to substitute. Let us say 231 if you substitute. So this is 0.04 into 50 into 231 by 200. So you can calculate the value of the frequency. Okay. Now the same thing you can calculate if you have the droops of 4%. So now you please calculate what is the value of this X, means sharing of the generator. If the droop is 4%, quickly you calculate. Let us take droop is 4%, and you repeat this and calculate the value of this sharing. So what is the value you are getting? How much you are getting? How much you are getting? Sharing of these two generators, considering 4% droop. Are you doing the calculation? Hello? Hello? Are you doing this calculation? Are you doing? Hello? Whether you are doing or not, please tell me, because we are silent at this position. What is the answer? Hello. None of you have got it? Hello.
Yes, sir.
How much you have? How much you have got it? What is the sharing of these two generators? Please tell me. Whether you have done it or not. So much time it is taken. Rahul? Rahul Kumar? Yes, Rahul, please tell. What you have done? Hello.
They're getting same value.
Same value. All of you are getting the same value with different groups. You are getting same value, X value, and the sharing of other generator it is same.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let it be. Let it be whatever you are getting. Okay, fine. Next is the dynamic response. Okay, now the dynamic response here, what we'll do, we'll actually calculate what is the value of this delta ft in time domain. So we'll derive it. Okay, we'll derive it. So to obtain the dynamic response giving the change in frequency as a function of time for a step change in load, we must obtain the Laplace inverse. Okay. So here what we have done, you see this block, the total block, it is approximated as 1. That means we have assumed here that KSG, TSG, KT, TT, those values, this is nearly equal to 1. So this particular block is 1. And here we have KPS and 1 plus STPS. What we'll do now, we'll do the simplification. This TSG and TT equal to 0 and KSG and KT equal to 1. So that block becomes 1. Okay. So finally, we have to derive the particularly this value. Okay, delta ft. Okay. So let us do it. So what we'll do now, so we have this delta PCS and this is your KSG by 1 plus STSG. This is your KT by 1 plus STT. Then you have this block. Here it is your delta PDS. Then you have the KPS by 1 plus STPS. And this is your delta FS. And then it is your 1 by R. So this is your delta PCS. Now in this case, we are assuming this KSG into KT, this is equal to 1, and TSG equal to TT, this is equal to 0. So this block is 0, this particular portion is 0. Okay. So what will happen? This Ksg into Kt, this is equal to 1. So finally, we are getting the block diagram. This is your delta PCS. Then you have a unity block. You have the unity block. Then you have a comparator. This is plus, this is minus, and this is delta PDS. And this is your KPS by 1 plus STPS. This is delta FS. And then this is minus 1 by R. Okay. So this block actually represented here. This block, it is represented here. This is your block. Okay. Whatever we have. This block, how we have got it, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what we'll do, we'll first make delta PCS equal to 0. Delta PCS equal to 0 and delta PDS is there, that is a step in. Okay, with that we'll derive this thing. Okay, so let us derive it. So now we are reducing this, delta PCS equal to 0. So now how we'll do this? So if it is 0, then this comparator has no value. This comparator has no value. So we'll have this is a 1. Then we have a comparator. This is plus, this is minus, this is delta PDS, and this is your KPS by 1 plus STPS. This is your delta FS. And then we have, previously we have this minus. So minus we are absorbing here. This minus is your minus 1 by R. So now this is your input and this is your output. And input is at negative. So CS by RS, for negative input we know this is minus GS by 1 minus GSHS. So here also the delta FS by delta PDS. So what we'll do, your GS is minus GS, so KPS by 1 plus STPS and 1 minus. So this minus and minus becomes plus. This is this into this. So this is your GS. So we'll write GS KPS by 1 plus TPS, and your HS is this into this. So because of this minus becomes plus into 1 by R. So finally, this is, we'll reduce it, minus KPS by 1 plus STPS, and this is R into 1 plus STPS plus KPS. So divided by 1 plus STPS. Now this will cancel. So finally, this is minus KPS by R plus R into 1 plus STPS in plus KPS. So delta FS equal to delta PD by S. Okay. So this is the actually derivation. This is the derivation. So now what has to be done? We need to do the partial fraction. We need to do the partial fraction. So you see, we are getting this thing. So this value, whatever we have got it there. So here what we'll do? We'll do the partial fraction, and using this partial fraction, what we'll get? Minus KPS by TPS, S into S plus R plus KPS by R plus TPS into delta P. Now if you take do the partial fraction and take the inverse Laplace, so this will be minus R KPS by R plus KPS, 1 minus exponential, because S into S plus A. So that is the form of 1 by S minus 1 by S plus. So that is 1 by s means if you take the inverse Laplace, that will be 1. And 1 by s plus a, if you take the inverse Laplace, that will be e to the power minus s. So s is there, e to the power minus at. So a is this term and t is this one. So now if you substitute this value of kps equal to 100, tps equal to 20, r equal to 3 and delta pd equal to 0.01, so you will get the value of the delta ft. So now steady state means t equal to infinity. So the finally this will be equal to 0. So this is the finally steady state. Is it clear? Is it clear? I have not derived this step and this step. These two steps are basically partial fraction. You can do it. But up to this step, I have derived. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I will put your attendance something. So let me open that. Okay, now you please put your attendance. Please put your attendance. Okay, is it over? Is it over?
Yes.
Okay. So, thank you. I think next week we have the internal test. So there will not be any class. Okay. All classes will be suspended and we'll meet on next week. So your syllabus from my portion is your fault analysis and economic load dispatch. These are the two portions from my part. You can know the other part from other teacher. Okay. Thank you to all of you. Now I'll close this meeting if you have no query. Okay. Okay.